hard work. I mean, it's tough to start something. You know, I think in addition to, you know, those traits, I think it's critical that the entrepreneur truly understands, you know, really their business model and their revenue model. Sort of take it beyond the passion, take it beyond the idea that they're in love with, and truly understand how this idea is going to take the form of a business model and then be turned into a revenue model. Because, you know, there's no better money going into a company than revenue. It's much better than debt. It's much better than investor money. The single best amount of money or source of money, I believe, is revenue. So, you know, second, you know, truly understand, you know, that this idea, this business that you're in love with, and you think that your handful of customers are going to be in love with, how many more out there are like them? So truly understand the scope and the scale of the market. Really become an expert, you know, in really doing sort of a market and opportunity assessment. Basically, you know, the demand scenarios. If we build it, who will come? How many will come? How often will they come? How much will they pay? And how often will they come to us again? And then third, I think something that all entrepreneurs should really understand is how to manage cash flow. I think my first two ventures before my third went public, I would describe them as successful disasters. They were truly successful disasters. You know, just every day, even though we were making money, you know, the money just never seemed to be in the bank. You know, just how do you manage cash flow and accounts receivable? How can it be that, you know, we just signed another contract for $1 million or $2 million, but we have no money in the bank? Well, the big customers that we were always signing up, you know, you send an invoice that says pay in 30 days, they pay in 60, 90 days or whenever they want. So managing cash flow, truly understanding your market, and really understanding your business model and revenue model are things that I would encourage everybody to really become experts in. You know, beyond sort of being an expert in the widget or the wadget that you're developing. You know, those three things are critical for me and things that I really try to encourage others to really dig in and understand. Thank you.
Balazs, do you want to comment?
I have two traits which I think it's important to me. It's number one, you have to be driven. I know some people don't like this, but you have to be driven because you have to make the right work-life balance, which is not a balance at all. So you have to really be driven and be passionate about doing something. The second one is that you have to have a personality which very quickly can recover from failures, because you have to fail continuously. You have to make mistakes continuously. You have to learn from it, but you have to make a lot of mistakes along the way. And as you say, it's successful failures. If you're not able to recover from it, you're not able to stand up, then you have a problem. Then you have a real problem. You cannot become an entrepreneur.
And if we turn it around from the investor point of view and the advisor point of view, do you have any comments on what it takes for a successful entrepreneur?
The role of our firm really kicks in when not really in the startup phase, because like Robin mentioned, in the startup phase, the entrepreneurs, they do almost everything themselves, and even if they require some legal advice, it's more on the more simple and very just the basic legal advice. Our role gets in when capital is starting to get injected in the company, and in this sense, we are representing entrepreneurs, that they are entrepreneurs in the sense of their own investor structure, like small startup VC firms. And we have a special relationship how we work together, and I'm happy to elaborate on that a bit later. So I think from that perspective, when the VC starts to inject capital in an already startup or already operating company, they need to pick their advisors really right, and they need to build a strong and personal relationship as well, and good professional relationship.
I think it's really credible to say answers to this question from the perspective of the entrepreneurs. So let me not really say what I think makes a good entrepreneur. But Balázs reminded me of someone who I consider as a role example for a good entrepreneur. That is Mike Simon. And I was thinking about what are the key features of his past 15 years, and I would list those without much explanation. I think one is honesty, the other is drive, the third is excellent communication skills, and maybe one more thing, which is maybe Balázs has a different view, but some paranoia. I would add that as well.
I just want to make a quick comment about this drive thing. That I remember when I was just starting Zipcar, I was listening on the radio, and there was a piece about startups, and it said, yeah, and you have to be prepared to work, you know, 18-hour days, day in and day out, and so it's not something you want to take on. And it made me kind of frightened. But then the reality is you love your company and you think about it 24 hours a day, and working, and this kind of drive feels very, once you're in it, you're thinking about it all the time, you're working on it all the time. So I just want to say the drive piece, you have to have it, but it comes naturally when you're doing the thing that you want to be doing.
It's interesting, in Hungarian they call passion the internal flame. Belső tűz. Anyway, that is great. So let's go to the next question. What is the best approach to building your product or your service, your company? Balázs.
Yeah, that's what I do. So I think how to do it is I would take it from a different angle, is that I always felt that I'm quite smart, but I'm not the smartest person. So the best way I always envisioned to create a new product or a new service is that I came up with a bunch of ideas and I've tried them. And I keep trying them. And I find if something succeeds a little bit, then I will try to innovate on top of that. And that's how you get to something which is sellable, right? So the way I try to develop a product or a service is today people call it agile, or iterative way. But a lot of ideas to the table, and try and see which one survives. And actually the way to judge which one survives, which one you can actually sell. There are plenty of ideas which are great on paper, plenty of products which are amazing on the drawing boards. But if they can generate the required revenue, then to me, that's the way I developed it, or come up with the right product itself. I think it's very down-to-earth approach. I'm not sure everybody will agree with this approach, but this worked for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You know, I think my approach is similar to my first answer about, sort of traits or characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. And again, I've seen this on both sides as an entrepreneur, and now, for the past 15 years, also as sort of a pre-seed Series A, B investor. Whether it's an idea I have or one of my companies, or if we're looking to invest, we really want to have an idea of, what sort of, I know it sounds familiar to many of you, but what sort of problem is this product or service really solving? And then how large is that market that you're sort of trying to address? Is it a $10 million market, or is it a market in the hundreds of millions or the billions? Obviously, if we're going to be investing, 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe up to $60, $100 million over a period of time, hopefully the market that we're addressing with this particular product is going to be in the billions of dollars, right? That way we can, solve this problem for a larger number of customers. So, that's the first thing, is we really like to sort of jump in, dig in, and make sure we can do really a market assessment. Then really we want to do an opportunity assessment. The opportunity assessment, I typically challenge, individuals in my companies or other entrepreneurs to really come up with 3 demand scenarios. And that's, again, if we build it, who will come? How many will come? How much will they pay? How often will they come back? Right? I mean, that's the way sort of, market and the capitalism is working. So many times they're like, well, gosh, I can really just come up with one demand scenario. I think that maybe we can develop this product and we can get the government to buy it. Well, what if you were to take the product and flip it on its side, or change the shape just slightly, or give it a different color? Could you get into the consumer goods market? So, even though they're not thinking that way, we're always trying to encourage them to come up with at least 3 demand scenarios. And that's how I go about, I guess, product service development from a non-technical, non-engineering perspective.
Robin, would you?
I like and believe this idea, find a need and fill it, find a problem. And one of the key problems for everyone is economics. So can you make something cheaper than others? And recently, the work that I've been, the thinking work, and I'm writing a book around part of this topic, is there's a huge amount of excess capacity in the world, and if you build something on excess capacity, you've transformed the economics. So if you look at Zipcar, one of the reasons it succeeded is because the